increase investment to the islands through high technology, disruptive technology, innovation and capital in order to increase local opportunities in the energy sector. He made the remarks at the climax of the two-day symposium on energy in Dar es Salaam, which intended to cover prospects and long-term trends in the industry. Rehema Sababili has more.
The first Vice President of the Revolutionary Government of Zanzibar also had the opportunity to tour several pavilions displaying various energy production technology and active energy projects. While closing the conference, the first Vice President of Zanzibar, Osman Masoud Osman, made reaffirm Zanzibar's position as the regional hub for the generation of sustainable energy.
The blue economy is a critical cornerstone of the government strategy, where developing energy in a sustainable manner is paramount to the national and global ambitions for energy transitions to job creation and social governance. This is also high on the government agenda at the critical moment that Zanzibar is positioning itself as a sustainable energy creation hub in the region, creating opportunity for local businesses and then creating skilled jobs for the local communities as well.
And the organizers of the meeting add that the meeting has been successful and has been able to create employment opportunities to the people.
The President has made this event a very resounding success. Your Excellency, I wish to inform you that over 93 countries are present in this event, and over 1,000 delegates have attended since yesterday.
Over dinner last night, we were speaking with a small medium enterprise who last year had been fortunate enough to win the small medium enterprise local content champion. And he was deliberating about how this exposure over the past 12 months had enabled him to open up doors that would have never opened up before. And so I think, again, just to underscore the fact that we, with our partners, the Ministry of Energy and Ocean Business Partners, work very, very hard to unlock these doors for all representatives across the energy industry, whether it's government, public, private sector, to ensure that we're delivering value and purpose.
Among the topics discussed at the conference are oil and gas trading opportunities in boosting economies across the continent, project cooperation with global energy partners from the Middle East, Europe, US, and Asia, gas and LNG project case studies from around the world, as well as power transmission collaboration and integrating regional networks. Reporting from Dar es Salaam, Rehema Sababili, TBC News.
Thank you, Rehema Sababili, for that report. The Spanish Secretary of State dealing with commerce, Xiana Mendez, says her country, through its export credit agency, is willing to support the standard gauge railway project through loans and insurance. She made the assurance when she held talks with the Tanzanian Finance Minister, Dr. Mwigulu Nchemba, where both expressed their commitment to deepen ties. Here are more details.
The Spanish Secretary of State, Xiana Mendez, says Spain recognizes the importance of the project to the economy of Tanzania, as upon its completion, the project will increase the value chain of investment and trade and make Tanzania as one of the business hubs in Africa.
And then the railway sector, which is very interesting. We know that is one of your priorities. But it's also a priority sector for us because in the value chain for the railway sector, you can find in Spain many companies in every step of the value chain. So related to the design, signing, rolling stock, infrastructure, whatever.
On the other hand, the Minister of Finance, Dr. Mwigulu Nchemba, acknowledges the willingness of Spain to support development projects in the country through loans and insurance guarantees.
We are now investing heavily in productive sectors, the agriculture, livestock and fisheries, energy as a driver, and the other sectors of key interest to developed countries, including tourism.
Furthermore, Dr. Nchemba says that the SGR project is vital for Tanzania and will connect 7 landlocked African and Great Lakes countries when completed, and that will stimulate trade, transport, and cargo operations and ultimately increase GDP. More than $3.24 billion is needed to complete the third, fourth, and fifth phase of the standard gauge railway SGR, and Dr. Nchemba's visit partly aims to secure the funds.
The President of Zanzibar and the Chairman of the Revolutionary Council, Dr. Hussein Ali Mwinyi, is expected to be an official guest of honor at the 7th Southern African Broadcasting Association Broadcast and Digital Media Convention, which will be held in the islands of Zanzibar from October 10th to 12th, 2023. Addressing journalists earlier today, the Director General of the Tanzania Broadcasting Corporation, Dr. Ayub Rioba, says the conference is an opportunity for media and communication stakeholders to discuss the development and way forward for this sector. Here are more details.
Tanzania, through the Tanzania Broadcasting Corporation TBC, will host the 7th Southern African Broadcasting Association Summit, where 16 SADC countries are expected to participate. The meeting, which has been organized by TBC and SABA together with other stakeholders, is expected to have more than 200 participants from various parts of Africa and outside of Africa. The TBC Director General, Dr. Ayub Rioba, says Tanzania to host the 7th Annual Broadcast and Digital Media Convention in Africa is a great step towards countries' drive to become Africa's conference center.
On the 10th to 12th of October this year, we are going to have an international conference in Zanzibar. This conference is being organized by SABA. SABA is Southern Africa Broadcasting Association. We've invited, other heads of public service broadcasters in Africa to come and participate. We've done that before. We have cooperated in that area to have experts in various fields, but more specifically in the field of ICT and digital broadcasting from around the world.
Furthermore, the Director General highlights other opportunities that the 3-day industry convention will present to Tanzanians.
A conference to be officiated by the President of Zanzibar and Chairman of the Revolutionary Council, Dr. Hussein Ali Mwinyi. And it's an opportunity for Zanzibar and indeed Tanzanians to welcome our brothers and sisters from different parts of Africa who will be coming for that conference.
Zanzibar, here we come.
See you in Zanzibar, Tanzania, where the 7th Southern African Broadcasting Association SABA Broadcasters and Digital Media Summit will be held this year, 2023. Other more media stakeholders are welcome to join and participate, which will also give them the opportunity to showcase their work nationally and internationally.
More than 250 scientists on the area of health from 6 countries are expected to participate in a conference on science which targets to exchange research results on infectious diseases, especially AIDS and tuberculosis. Is a report by Adolf Mbata, read to you by Teddy Mparanyanga.
According to the National Institute for Medical Research Tanzania, NIM, the conference will be held for 2 days from the 21st of September, targeting to exchange research results conducted on infectious diseases.
We shall be providing various services, including offering services to HIV and AIDS victims. These scientists come from various areas in our country. First, from 5 organizations in Mbeya that have cooperated in the preparation of this conference. We will also have scientists who came from higher learning institutions.
Tutakuwa tuna wanasayansi wa kada za afya wanaotoka katika taasisi za elimu ya juu.
Research Director of Henry Jackson Foundation Medical Research International, Dr. Emmanuel Bahemana, says the conference will help to establish the best methods of providing services to HIV patients in the community.
Katika utekelezaji wa afua zetu.
In the process of implementing our project, we must get information from health centers, scientific information about how these services will be provided. But while we are planning on how to implement this project, we have to involve stakeholders. So this science conference brings stakeholders and gives us a chance to discuss how, as an organization, we can offer services and implement this project in an effective way.
hizo kwenye vituo vyetu vya afya kwa Watanzania wenzetu kwa ubora ambao sisi kama mradi tunataka.
On the other hand, a researcher from the research unit of the Mbeya Region Referral Hospital, Dr. Adam Kilungu, and a researcher from the Research Institute of Human Diseases, Dr. Elizabeth Ntapara, here expresses their take on the conference.
We have 3 big duties. One is to be involved in the treatment of patients. Second, we also teach about health education to students. Another important one is research, because it helps to provide answer on various questions concerning how to improve treatment.
Jibu ya maswali mengi tulionayo kuhusu namna gani ya kuboresha matibabu.
Maana hili la kisayansi kwa njia moja au nyingine.
The science conference, in one way or another, will help us to collaborate with other institutions and ensure the advancement of human research.
Nyingine na jinsi ambavyo tutaenda na vimu kuhakikisha kwamba tafiti za magonjwa ya binadamu zinasonga mbele.
In other news, a Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Information, Communications and Information Technology, Mohammed Hamis, says while the government strives to fully enter into the digital economy, the Tanzania Telecommunication Corporation, TTCL, is bound to execute exponentially the 3rd phase of fiber optic installations, which is meant to connect all Tanzanian districts. Emmanuel Samuel has more.
The Permanent Secretary made the directive while inspecting the equipment for the 3rd phase of Tanzania National ICT Backbone Network that have already arrived. The fiber optic installations is expected to be completed next year, and the Permanent Secretary stresses that without better and reliable communications, the strive to the full digital economy will be in vain.
We have agreed on the contract that says we should do the same. So please, don't let this nation down. Let's do our duty.
On the other hand, the Director General of Tanzania Telecommunications Company TTCL, Engineer Peter Ulanga, says the project will connect 100 districts out of 139 districts, and also the government plans to extend the reach to Congo, a step that will boost communication services many folds.
I'd like to ensure you that the management of TTCL will ensure that this project and other projects will be managed completely and professionally and will be completed on time.
The Huawei company from the Republic of China is the one that has been contracted for the project, and they promise to execute the project effectively and train other Tanzanians on the technology.
We are very honored to get this project, okay? After the contract signed, we will try our best to prepare to start the project. Even we do acceleration to the flight to the shipment by the air, we get the material by this month.
I would like to commit, or I can say to promise the government, our president, that we are going to deliver this as per good standards introduced in the contracts. And as you can see here, we are having a trainings to all the teams that will be the part of this project.
So we are here for the training, and we aspire to give our best and to help government achieve its objectives in terms of connectivity within the country.
Reporting from Dar es Salaam, Emmanuel Samuel, TBC News.
Deputy Permanent Secretary, President's Office, Regional Administration and Local Government, Dr. Wilson Mahera, says establishment of quality childcare centers for young children aged 0 to 8 will improve children's learning and development while they're still young. He made this statement during a workshop that brings together various community development stakeholders, government and non-governmental institutions to discuss the best ways to run childcare centers. Emmanuel Samuel has more.
It is the workshop that brings together various stakeholders of community development, government and non-governmental institutions, the goal being to discuss the establishments and the best ways to run child care centers for young children to enable them to learn in a good and friendly environment and reach their goals.
We are basically looking at the science of early child development and also the practice as well as the policy side of the early child development. So for this day, we want to come up with ways through which we can come up with a sustainability as well as options for making sure that children who are under 8 years old going down are really nurtured and cared properly based on the 5 frameworks of nature and care.
Statistics from the 2022 National Bureau of Standard Population Census, it clearly shows that those children who come from educated mothers are able more to realize education, but those children who have passed through the daycare centers or ECD centers like the creches, daycare center and community-based daycare center, whatever model they are able to join primary school in a larger number as compared to those children who have not passed through these ECD centers.
So currently we have reached already 10 regions where they have already launched this program. We are now working hard to make sure that by December this year we reach all 26 regions across the Tanzania mainland. From there then we can start now, bringing down the knowledge to the council level down to the local government level.
Deputy Permanent Secretary, President's Office, Regional Administrations and the Local Government, Dr. Wilson Mahera, is the official guest of honor at the meeting, who makes it clear how the government works hard to ensure that it cooperates with the other stakeholders in establishing such centers for the well-being and development of Tanzanian children.
Tunataka tuanzishe hivi vituo vya kulea hawa watoto.
We want to establish these centers to raise these children so that these centers can support the children to have a good learning environment so that they can grow well mentally, physically, and in language. And later when they enter primary education, they can have a good chance to understand lessons more quickly.
Emmanuel Samuel, TBC News.
The Tanzania Library Services Board, TLSB, says it is reviewing the laws and policies that guide the board in order to improve and modernize the library services in the country. It's a report by Resident Desika, read to you by Lilua Mohammed.
In the third national conference where stakeholders are gathering in Mwanza to discuss various issues regarding Tanzania library services, as well as setting strategies to improve access to library services. The Director General of the board, Dr. Mboni Ruzigea, says the government has made efforts to improve library services in the country by improving buildings in various regions, as well as the use of ICT.
With all the publications that we have, we will now be on the system, and we will also be able to be connected in other systems that exist, which are currently in use. All libraries shall be registered on the networks so that we can all do something called resource sharing, which will be easily accessible not only for people in Mwanza, but even for the people along the lake zone.
Among the things discussed here is the review and improvement of laws and policies that guide library services in the country so that library services adapt to the current modern times.
We have also been talking about the importance of having policy services that can match the speed of the current technology, as well as match the changes in the primary education curriculum.
Victor George is the Assistant Director of Education Policies. He commends the government for its willingness to support the modernization of the library services.
There has been an increase in money from 400 million shillings to 10 billion.
The board has also launched a library center for children at the Mwanza Referral Hospital, Seketure, and has donated more than 300 books to children as part of giving back to the community.
In celebration of World Peace Day, youth from the Great Lakes region countries of Burundi, Rwanda, Tanzania, Congo, and Uganda urge young people from the Great Lakes countries not to accept to be used by politicians or other countries to breach peace in their countries. They made the call in Dar es Salaam during a peaceful procession to mark the day, insisting young people to protect peace at all costs in the region.
They have discussed democracy, good governance, and indicators of breaches of peace.
They have also concerted now to get their own income to avoid chaos and bear with hardships of life. And as a youth, if you want to practice good politics, you must have your own income.
Tusikubali kujiingiza katika machafuko ya kikabila, ya kisiasa ama ya kinchi na nchi.
We should not get ourselves involved in the ethnic unrest, political unrest, and country-to-country unrest, because all that has been caused by many shortcomings, like losing our loved ones, and the large group that is mostly affected are young people, women, children, and people with disabilities.
Na watu wenye ulemavu.
Tulianzia Kongo, tukaenda Kigali, tukaenda.
We started in Congo, Kigali, and Entebbe, and now we are here in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Our aim is to bring together youth from various countries to discuss peace, since through discussions we can solve our existing challenges.
Tunakaa pamoja na kujadili, kwani kupitia maongezi na mazungumzo tunaweza tukatatua matatizo ambayo tunayo.
And the deputy mayor of the city of Dar es Salaam, Ojambi Masaburi, says the task to maintain and protect peace is not only for young people, but also for all the citizens of the region.
There are some young people who distort the basics by starting gangs, which results in breaches of peace. So I'd like to call on young people to appreciate things done by the government and advise wherever that is needed. But we should not praise something that will lead to chaos, because we all know that there is no development without peace.
World Peace Day was officially established in 1981 by the United Nations General Assembly. Now, before we wind up our local news, let us take a look at the exchange rates according to the Bank of Tanzania, BOT. TBC News every weekday to know all the latest in exchange rates. Time now for all the latest in international news. And here is international news compiled by Ramadan Mpenda, read to you by Kanki Mwaigomole.
President Felix Tshisekedi of the Democratic Republic of Congo has called for a faster withdrawal of the UN force in his country to begin this year. He told the UN General Assembly that he had instructed his government to begin talks with the UN to bring forward the start of his progressive withdrawal from December 2023 to December 2024. President Tshisekedi has said the mission known by the MONUSCO had failed to bring peace in the country despite being there for about 25 years, adding that it was misleading and counterproductive to continue to stick to the force to maintain peace. MONUSCO has almost 18,000 personnel in the DRC, including more than 12,000 soldiers, making it the second largest UN mission globally. Protesters accuse them of failing to protect civilians against decades of attacks from the many rebels that operate in the mineral-rich east of the country. South Africa and the United States are to start testing a new preventative HIV vaccine and have begun enrolling participants to take part in the clinical trial. According to U.S. state research agency, the National Institute of Health, NIH, the vaccine called VIR-1388 is designed to help a body's T cells. These are part of the immune system and patrol and inspect other cells for problems. The vaccine is intended to instruct the immune system to produce T cells that can recognize HIV and signal an immune response to prevent the virus from establishing chronic infection. The vaccine trial is funded by the NIH, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and the U.S. company Vir Biotechnology. The study will enroll 95 HIV-negative participants at 4 cities in South Africa and 6 cities in the U.S. The initial results of the vaccine trial will be announced in late 2024, but some participants will continue with the trial for 3 years. And the coup-topped president of Niger, Mohamed Bazoum, has appealed to a court of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, to free him. Bazoum was overthrown by members of his presidential guard on July 26th and has been detained at home and his wife and child since. He filed a lawsuit with the West African Bloc's court based in Abuja, the Nigerian capital, on September the 18th, said his Senegalese lawyer Seydou Dain. Niger's coup leader have declared their intention to prosecute Mr. Bazoum for high treason and undermining internal and external security.
That was international news. Sports news up next. In sports news, Simba Sports Club head coach Roberto Oliveira says he is satisfied with the team's performance in their 3-0 win over Coastal Union from Tanga that keeps pressure to arch rivals Young Africans in Tanzania Premier League table after 3 rounds. Speaking after the match, head coach Oliveira adds that his team targets to win back the Tanzania Premier League title this season.
This I'm very happy. Congratulations for my players because one first half amazing with the ball, samba, ball possession, good compactness, aggressivity with the ball. Okay, we scored 3 goals, but you know we cannot use everyone. We need to give opportunity for another players for check because our objective now after this game will be Champions League.
Simba Sports Club goals were scored by Jean Baleke, who registered a first hat-trick in the Tanzania Premier League and makes Simba to have maximum of 9 points from 3 matches behind defending champion Young Africans. However, Simba lost its skipper Henok Enonga after he sustained a leg injury in the first half following a reckless tackle by Coastal Union striker Haji Ugando, who received a straight red card. In other sports news, the Tanzania Swimming Association chairman David Mwasioge calls on coaches of the swimming clubs that will participate in the national competition to create a system to train quicker the swimmers in order to form the best national team for the African Swimming Championship. Mwasioge says the main goal of the national competition is to find competitive players to create the best national team that will participate in the African Swimming Championship to be held in Rwanda in November.
Say we have performance pathway whereby we track the performance of our swimmer. So this gala, the National Open Championship, it confirms those who have maintained the performance or exceed, or also we have got new swimmers who have improved their performance and managed to reach the qualification time for the coming Africa Aquatics Zone 3 Gala, which will be held in Kigali, and Africa Junior Championship, which will be held in Mauritius.
The national swimming competition is expected to kick off on Saturday this week at Oyster Bay in Dar es Salaam, while a total of 14 teams from mainland Tanzania and Zanzibar are expected to participate in the competition. And that's it for sports news. Before we wind up, let us take a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours.
Hello dear viewers, welcome to the next 24 hours of the forecast from Tanzania Meteorological Authority. My name is Margaret Masawe. Wind is expected to flow from southeast over the northern coast and from east over the southern coast with a speed of 30 kilometers per hour over the northern coast, Lake Victoria and Lake Nyasa, and 20 kilometers per hour over southern coast and Lake Tanganyika. The start of the sea is expected to be rough. Cold condition is still reduced in many areas of the country, and the lowest minimum temperature is expected to be 11 degrees Celsius over Njombe region. The rest are as shown on this map. Tonight we expect a partly cloudy condition and thunder showers over Lake Victoria Basin. The rest parts of the country expected to feature partly cloudy condition. Tomorrow we expect a partly cloudy condition and thunder showers over Lake Victoria Basin and Kigoma. Kilimanjaro, Arusha and the entire coast are expected to feature partly cloudy condition, light rain showers over a few areas and sun periods. The rest parts of the country are expected to feature partly cloudy condition and longer sun periods. Now let us see the next 4 days of the forecast for some regions of the country.
From Tanzania Meteorological Authority, we thank you for watching us.
And that marks the end of our news bulletin for tonight. I am Faith Ngaga. Good night.